I found these $36 black cement 3s on eBay, and these shoes are badly damaged. I thought this would be a straightforward restoration, but I ran into a problem that I never encountered before. Check out these toe boxes. They are crushed. After taking out the laces, I found these dirty green insoles. I got some cheap replacements, so I'm throwing these out. The first main step is inserting shoe trees. This is going to help give them their shape back. I'm trying to give these a light cleaning and hopefully loosen out any stains on the elephant print. I cleaned most of the dirt off, but the soles are tinted brown. I'll have to use the indoor unit to take care of this later on. After taking a closer look back here, I noticed that the counters were starting to chip underneath. You know, that's just the nature of buying beaters online. Anything can happen. To be honest, I wasn't too sure what to do here, but I figured it would be a fun challenge to see if I can actually restore them. Since these are beaters, I need them deep cleaned, and the best way to do so is using the washing machine. Now these could break more, but I'll pad the machine and hope for the best. These are going on a cold cycle for 15 to 30 minutes. And they'll take around a day or so to fully dry. Without the midsoles attached, I have a great opportunity to clean them now. After using 3 coats of a paint stripper, the black paint peeled off very easily. The white portion was harder though. Considering these midsoles are 13 years old now, I need to be really careful when I'm cleaning them, so I'm using rubbing alcohol. I still ended up with some midsole damage. We'll take care of this later. This is what a normal counter should look like. Basically, it offers support and stability. I never actually replaced one before, but I can tell you it's a really tedious process. I believe we would have to separate the entire back portion. That would just take way too much work. Thankfully, they didn't fall apart in the washing machine, so I'm hoping I can find some way to repair them later. I decided to glue them down. For the best bond, I need to remove the old factory glue, and I'm using acetone. I'm also using masking tape so I don't get glue on the uppers. I applied 1 coat of barge super stick, and I peeled off the tape immediately. I carefully applied 1 more coat and let it cure. These need to cure separately, so I'm using a Q-tip to prop it up. This is what I call the rubber band technique. I use a couple of bands to hold the shoes together, so it's easier to align everything. Then we can apply some heat and tack it down. It's really important to get everything on the inside. I let these cure, and after a few touch-ups, we're good to go. It's nice to see that they're at least wearable now. The shoe trees did a great job on the creases, but we can still improve them. I stuffed the toe boxes, placed a wet rag over the surface, and gently ironed it back and forth. The sides were creased really badly. This won't erase it completely, but they'll still look a lot better. To take care of the rough spots on the midsoles, we can use Angelus paintable filler. It'll take some time to dry, so in the meantime, let's work on something else. I'm really curious to see what's going on back here. There's so many little pieces that are stitched down. There was more damage, but mostly small flakes. Even though I threw these in the washing machine, damage on the counter barely ever happens. It really goes to show how beat these are. I removed all the brittle pieces, and what's left now is a stable foundation. So my plan is to try and reinforce the whole thing. The counters are made of thermoplastic, so I came across Worbla. When it's hot, we can mold it however we choose, and when it cools down, it becomes much stronger. I measured out the missing pieces, and this is what they currently look like. For more security, I need to add some glue in there, and while it cures, let's move on. Since I cut the thread earlier, I'll have to simulate the stitching on the elephant print. It took many threads to find the right one, but I ended up using 280D in light gray. We don't want to use a thread that's too thin, because it's not going to look right. You can only imagine how much easier this is without the counter there. The color looks really close. Now we can glue down the panels and then try to mold it together. Everything is where it needs to be, so we can focus on getting the right curve and dulling down any sharp edges. My donors are not ready yet, so we'll have to come back to this. I think it's safe to say that the filler is completely dry now, so I need to sand this down. The midsoles are much smoother now. Using a heat gun, I can defog the air units. I can start to repaint the midsoles. I'm applying light coats and using a heat gun to speed up the process. Between paint coats, I can sand to remove any imperfections. The white paint's fully laid down. We can repeat the same thing for the black. I made any touch-ups, and I gave the uppers one light coat of paint. I'll have to clean the bottoms later. There's a few marks on the elephant print, and we can take care of this by lightly sanding it. I'll need to reprint this later on. These are my donors. Now these shoes are destroyed as well, but I can salvage the Nike Air. I got these for $22. The only downside is they're starting to turn yellow, and we can't really do anything about it. If anything, I think it adds a little bit of character. They cleaned up nicely, but there's still some marks on it. We'll take care of this later. Using the same thread as before, I need to simulate the stitching back here. Now this was a little bit harder than the elephant print. There's so many holes we have to try and go through. And what's crazy is, This is my second time doing it. I used a thread that was way too thin before this, and it just didn't look right. We can paint the thread and clean off the excess. I'm adding some glue again and letting it cure. Now we can glue these down. To make sure you don't mess up the first time, like I did off camera, start from the bottom and slowly work your way up. I did one final shape up, and I'm also trying to fuse all these pieces together. Surprisingly, this fix turned out really good. It works like a normal counter, and they're completely wearable. Stay tuned for the end. Using a waterproof marker, I can touch up the elephant print. I had to redo the whole thing because it was faded everywhere. The shoes are finally starting to come together. To protect our paint job and the elephant print, we can use Krylon Matte Finisher. This will also hide the marks on the back. These soles were really stained. It took 3 icing sessions and lots of scrubbing in between to get these back. I'm using Salon Care 40 and Saran Wrap. If you want to know how to make an indoor unit, I'll add a link above. Since these are beaters, in some areas they didn't ice all the way, but overall, I think they turned out really good. Stay tuned for the end. These are my replacement insoles. Nothing fancy, but much better than the green pair. I didn't know I had to cut these to shape, and I'm kinda just winging it here. To give these shoes a more polished look, I buffed them down. Finally, we can give them a brand new set of laces, and now let's try them on. These shoes were trashed, and now they're fully wearable. If you enjoyed the video, please consider dropping a like, and let me know what you think down below. Thank you for your support, and I'll see you in the next one.